Hello, stick around to the end of the podcast because there's a little announcement at the end of this one you might want to hear. This is episode 16 of the Less New by the Week podcast, More Fun Talking Retro, a podcast in which I and various guests chat about the things we like to talk about the most. No, not Scotch eggs, although those are always welcome. This podcast is all about the retro, which is why retro is in the name. And indeed in a lot of channels' names, which makes searching for them take inconveniently a few more key presses than I feel is strictly necessary. Retro is a funny word which generates at least 3 pedantic comments per video per day, accounting for 0.0005% of the world's energy consumption. That's a fake figure I totally made up. Please don't correct me. We only have so much solar to go around. Retro can mean many things, and not all of them are fun to take apart and poke with hot metal sticks. Some of them work just fine and only need a kindly, clever man to come along in a tweed jacket to tell everyone the deep and meaningful story of its entire existence. From Genesis to garbage. I'm definitely claiming that one. So how about turning that magnifying glass upon yourself, Mr. Cave? Let's see how you like it, eh? Are you treasure or are you trash? Oh. Please don't sue me. Yes, you guessed it. He couldn't keep away from a podcast for long. Hello, Neil from the Retro Collective RMC Cave Mill Stroud.
All of the above. Hello, Lee. Thank you so much for having me on your wonderful podcast.
Thank you for coming on. It's been a dream of mine to have you on here for weeks.
Days. and you decided to do it on the hottest day of the year. I am hot. I need to powder my head. It's getting shinier by the second.
My sweat is sweating. It's rancid in here as well because Stalin has died in the wall at the front of my workshop. This is a garage, and I built a plasterboard wall across the front. It's a metal garage door on the other side of it. Oof. And I keep getting Stalins nesting in the roof. And they didn't really survive this time. And it's
not all glamour, this YouTube stuff, is it?
I'm sponsored by Oust on this podcast today, and Shake and Vac and anything else that smells nice. So was it like you haven't got air conditioning home like you have in your fancy cave?
No, but do you know what? About 3 hours ago, I cracked and ordered it on Amazon, so it's coming tomorrow. After last summer, I was thinking I'm gonna do it next year. I'm gonna do it, and I cracked. It's just not worth bearing thinking about. It's so hot. So a nice DeLonghi unit on its way.
Fancy. That's an Italian brand, isn't it? Probably owned by an Indian brand, but now. I've actually claimed Jack's got one. My youngest has got an air conditioning unit for his room, and I've convinced Joanne that needs replacing this year. So I'm claiming that one once we've replaced his one.
Nice.
So I will be not toasty. I will be chilled as cucumber. Yeah, that's what chilled means, isn't it? Right. So let's get on to the business at hand. I want to talk about the cave first. And the identity changes because I touched on that in the intro, and with you being Mr. RMC Collective and everything. How's that gone? Have you had any pushback from that, like you did last time?
Yeah. I would reassure you, Lee, knowing you as the good friend that you are, that nothing is off limits today. So feel free to ask anything about anything.
I need to rewrite all of this.
When it comes to the Retro Collective name change, it was a staggered name change. So patrons were made aware of it last October. So we eased them into the idea. And to be honest, from a high level, the idea was that I wanted to have more help. The collective, everyone in the mill, wanted to work more closely together and to draw off of each other's successes, whether it's Heber selling their multi-systems and their hardware, the arcade raising awareness so that it would give visitors or me to my museum. So everyone looked set to benefit from working together rather than me sitting there going, it's my cave, you can't have any of it, and I do everything. So we got the patrons used to that idea, but they had already got used to the idea because we were effectively already doing it. We were already making videos together and repairing things under the cave name. So naturally, it just kind of happened. And then January, we officially did the rebranding, crossed our fingers and hoped it went well. And to be honest, it went without very much comment whatsoever, to be honest. Obviously, I'd done a rebrand. Oh, what year was that? 2019, from Retro Man Cave to RMC The Cave. So there had been a rebrand before.
Surely
Must have been later than that. Yeah, it was probably later than that. It's all a blur, Lee.
I've only been into this retro since 2019. This retro malarkey since then, and I can remember the change. So
so there were a few. Oh no, I've rebrand again. But whatever. We focus on the positives, not the moaners.
So now you're working in a collective. Or some would call it a cult. Holly, by the way, if he has you trapped, learn Morse code and start blinking at the camera. We'll send help. So what's it like working in a collective as opposed? Because I mean, you must have done how many years as a solo YouTuber?
Well, yeah, I mean, it goes beyond YouTube. I've worked as an IT contractor on my own, and I've done the YouTube stuff on my own. So I've always been, a lone wolf, Lee, in a lot of my jobs and a lot of what I do. But now I've got a wolf pack.
Who's the alpha wolf?
And I think we work well together because it hasn't been forced upon us. We've come together quite naturally. We've kind of found each other through our shared passions. Holly turned up as a volunteer and just became more and more involved in it. Richard invited me to the mill in the first place to think about renting the space through his passion for retro and his wanting to collaborate with me. And to be honest, even when I moved in to the mill, which was during lockdown times, it wasn't like Richard was saying to me, right, you're here, Neil. It's time for you to promote Heber and make us lots of money. It just, in fact, I didn't see him for months because I was just building the cave and he was happy to see how things were going. It just all came together very slowly and very naturally. So I think given the way it's happened, I've grown used to it as I've been eased into the idea of working with other people. Probably
didn't have. You basically won the lottery with the way this has all come together.
The stars aligned, didn't they? Yeah,
they really did. But you probably didn't have that realization at the start. I should think that there was some doubt and uncertainty about the future and how it would work out. But it must have blasted past all of your expectations, surely.
Oh, it really did. And the only reason that we had the momentum and it kept going is because of the support that was behind us through the viewers and through Patreon. That's what really kept us going. While that support was there and while that support is there, I keep pushing to give back what people are putting into it because, they are supporting us because of what we do, because we want to preserve the hardware, and all wrapped up in that is people's memories and people's nostalgia. They want to see all of that treated with respect, not with lots of sarcasm. And they want to see it respected. We can have some fun with it along the way, but ultimately, our mission is to preserve this stuff and then to share it with people in the museums, which is quite a unique thing that we've got with our channel, is to be able to then invite people to come and enjoy the space and the things. And I think that's, quite an attractive proposition for someone in the hobby who wants to support a channel or come and visit us or just follow what we do. I think I try and make the things that I would want to see myself, which is a curse and a blessing. I've only got to go to last weekend, our most recent guest speaker event, which was a event about arcade raids. I created my perfect day. Did I get to enjoy it to the max? I enjoyed some of it, but I was, running around with cameras, plugging lights in, sorting out, I was missing all the good bits. I do get to enjoy it when I go back and edit the videos, but it's a curse and a blessing in that respect.
My favourite bit when of one of those talks was watching you nodding off after your parental leave had finished and you came back and you were sat behind the camera when Jason Daniels was interviewing.
Oh, if Jason was speaking, yeah.
And your head just kept.
Was he interviewing Richard? Richard, I forget his surname now, but the Mortal Kombat guy.
Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, that was a good day. And every time that I come to the cave, it's just I can't explain how amazing it is to you. I mean, and I've always said to you, thank you for, and I've tried to make this clear how much it means to people like me. But every time I go there, it's just And from that very first time when I was really unsure and I didn't really know too many people, and there happened to be a couple of people, Reese was there, so that was okay. And I was quite nervous about turning up, and I'd imagine most people would be as well.
Yeah.
On their first go. For the audio listeners, we just got a little flash of Reese on the end of who lives on the end
I'll
of
pop him on my
Neil's finger.
microphone there. There you go. Oh, it's fallen off.
He gets in everywhere, doesn't he? But yes, let me finish gushing about the cave.
Sorry. Thank you, Lee.
But it improves every time I go there. I mean, you still haven't got a choplifter for me yet. And
I would love that, yeah.
The best Sega game ever.
I think we've got a PCB. We just need the cabinet to put it in, yeah.
Yeah, Holly told me when I did complain to her last time. So what about mill upgrades? Are you done yet? I mean, we'll get onto the pump house in a minute, but I want to know what the big picture is for the future. Are you still planning stuff? Are the cogs turning for like 10 years down the road?
Well, this is a funny thing. I remember way back in the early days, somebody said to me, "So Neil, what's your 5-year plan?" I'm like,
still be here.
And I'm still kind of like that now. Obviously, I have a very clear goal now, which is to create the best museum or museums that we possibly can and give that the best experience to visitors, and hand in hand with that, make the best content we can. But how long that goes on for really depends on how long people want it and how long we can keep it fresh and keep it interesting for people. And a lot of what I do is about trying to make sure I can do this stuff for as long as possible by spreading that risk, which is why the museum is an important part of making sure I can keep doing that. The gift shop in the museum, well, that's a small facet that makes sure we can keep doing it. The YouTube videos, and I'm always looking for kind of other collaborations and things to spread that risk as wide as we can, so that if any one of those pop, I can still do what I'm doing, which is effectively living a dream, living a lot of people's dreams, being able to do what I'm doing. So I want to make sure I can do it for as long as possible. So the plan is to just keep doing what we're doing and doing it better. And we find that there's this kind of circle, which is we make the videos, people love it. That encourages them to come and visit. They enjoy visiting. That encourages them to either support us or to donate stuff. That creates more video content, and we go round and round and round. So that's a really lovely self-fulfilling place where we are at the moment. And then you mentioned the pump house. Did you want me to talk about that?
Yeah, let's get onto the pump house.
Yeah, because we went from the cave museum to the arcade museum. We opened on another floor, arcade archive, to the dev den, which is Jason's corner of the cave, which was opened. And now the new thing we're building is, it's called the pump house. It's a detached building to the mill. It's the only part of the mill which isn't grade 2 listed, which means we can do all sorts with it without permission. And we've gutted that out, and we've built a 2-floor. Top floor is an open plan studio, and that is going to be a repair shop. Just think, if you know the BBC repair shop, we're going to create that kind of open plan vibe with all the lights, all the cameras, everything that we need to make videos, and all the space to do that up there. And then underneath, we're going to have a library vault where we're going to have all the books, all the games and things like that aren't in the museum, and all the inventory processing facilities, and then a couple of storerooms. And as with I've just described that self-fulfilling circle, we're hoping that the repair shop will just further reinforce the preservation we're doing, the storytelling, all of that stuff, and elevate us again. And as I've said on my videos, take us to a status where I can feel more like a proper museum. Yeah. And I know people come to the cave and they'll go, "Oh, it is a proper museum." But, I know what goes on behind the scenes, and there's room for improvement in terms of our inventory systems and things like that. So striving to make all of that as good as possible. Am I making sense? It's very hot.
Perfect sense. So you said about this amazing studio on the top floor of the pump house, and you've hinted in the past that other people will be able to access this to do their own thing. How is that going to work?
So ever since opening the cave in its current location, I've always tried to encourage people to come and use the space and to film in it. And even, I mean, I'll put the appeal out now. If anybody is making a video about anything they think we have, you want to bring something with you, you just want to use our space, just get in touch, because we're in such a privileged position. We want to share that space. We want people to come and use it. Everyone wins when you do. In terms of the workshop, the invite is extended there to other YouTubers as well. In terms of using the workshop as a workshop, that would be quite difficult because we're going to be trying to making videos there in the week. So it's not like it's going to be a community workshop that people can come to.
Maker space. Oh, there's
maker
some
space.
Yeah, can we have that in another part of the mill?
Well, if there's enough interest, we could, and with enough planning, we can make something like that happen. But I think we need to settle into it first and make sure the space works.
Yeah.
Make sure our Alibaba Chinese lift is safe enough. Not even joking. And get used to the space. And then just as with everything else we've done around the mill, opportunities just kind of present themselves. The natural purpose of these spaces bubbles up to the surface, and we feel it out and we figure out what to do. So we are always in the sharing mindset, but it's got to be done right. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a blunt question. Is there going to be a charge for that for YouTubers?
No, I wouldn't charge people to come.
I will be there every weekend.
Oh then. No, yeah,
and abusing the privilege. So you funded this amazing project, with the digital package,
with your help.
I did have a little part in that, and I'm promised a brick somewhere. How's that going to happen, and where's this brick going to be?
Oh, there'll be a wall of names. You can have a special brick if you want.
Well, I want it at the mill. I don't want to take it home.
You want to take it home? Okay. Yeah, everyone can throw a brick in the pond. Yeah. We'll see how much we can displace. No, you can sign a brick. We've had some really kind offers from volunteers to come and help us with the build, and everyone who's come has signed under the staircase, in the hope that in 100 years' time, someone will find that and go, "Oh, these people that owned the mill 100 years ago, they must have been well off."
Oh, just look us up on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, that we could hide some USB sticks in there or something. Yeah. So you're welcome to come and sign as well. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Right. So the actual new studio space. What difference? I mean, I can imagine this is going to be opening up a lot of possibilities in terms of making content for you, especially.
Yeah.
And just the way I make content sometimes it is bottlenecked by the inability to just turn around and pick up something that I need to show on a camera. How amazing do you think that's going to be? Which the answer is going to be amazing, isn't it?
It's going to be amazing in the first week, and it's going to be amazing beyond that if we stick to it, if we keep stuff where it should be. And I think we're all going to have a big chat about how we achieve that and how we make sure that works. Because I've tried to make space in the cave like that in the past. Yeah. And my problem with that is I kind of feel guilty about the visitors coming that 100% of the space isn't open and accessible and being used for museum purposes. So to have this in a separate building and to use the museum as the showcase for the final product while we're working in the workshop is just perfect. So it's going to be incredible. We hope to have the floors down and the final partition walls up in the coming weeks. Really, that part will be done soon, and then I can start to really plan the interior. So I haven't fully got in my head what it's going to look like yet, but I'm thinking, a lot of things on wheels so that we've got all the different workstations that we need, CRT repairs, whether it's a Sega arcade board that we're looking at or a microcomputer, different stations that we can wheel in, form the set and go, right, that's us for the week. That's what we're working on. Reset at the end of the week, make sure it's nice and tidy. In fact, requested a trapdoor in the first floor so that we can lift the hatch and sweep any rubbish down.
Straight down.
So he's already in the mindset thinking, right, we've got to keep this tidy, we've got to keep on top of this. Think walls of tools, on the wall, pinned on the wall so we know where everything is.
It's
gonna
talk
be
to me
the
about
dream.
workshops and walls. With
Yours always
doors on.
looks super organised.
Oh, that's just a set. That's none of that is real.
Oh, it's just a green screen.
No, it's all just painted on there. No, having a tool to hand is incredibly important. It's something that I go on about a lot, and I think that's what you've basically got as a someone who's making content, having all of that material to hand is like being able to just put your hand up to a wall and pick up the right hammer for the job.
Yeah.
It's it's so important, and it just makes things go so much smoother, and it stops you procrastinating so much as well, because you can't sit down and think, well, now I've got to organize myself around getting this thing out. It's going to be brilliant.
It's the missing piece of the puzzle, because if you think about all the other pieces we've got, like when I want to showcase something, to have the cave, to have the museum as a backdrop to show a thing off in a video.
Yeah.
I don't even need to do any voiceover. That speaks volumes. Just those beautiful pictures. They just speak for themselves. But then when I'm trying to hide that out of shot is a great mess, because I've piled everything out to try and do some soldering, and there's a public day tomorrow and I've got to put it all away. That, I can hide that, I can mask that, but to be able to do it in a proper workshop and zoom out and pan around and leave it on a Friday and carry on exactly where it was on a Monday, that's going to be, beautiful. That's going to bring everything together.
So the estimated time, what do you think?
Well, the temporary containers that we have things in while we're building it have to go back in September. So it's going to be, and we've got to have the time to decant those as well. So, not long.
Late summer then.
Yeah, late summer.
So
we'll have
have
it
you got
finished.
anything special planned for the opening? Or
I think we'll have to have an event. Yeah, we'll have to find someone to cut the ribbon, and we'll invite lots of people who have helped along the way. I think we'll probably have a public day, and I think we'll probably have a private day where we can invite volunteers and some of the special backers. There was one backer in particular when we did the digital bundle to raise the funds, who fund matched the first £25,000, which just took the whole project from, we might put up a couple of walls, to, oh my God, we can build a whole floor and everything else that goes with it. So it was amazing. So people like that, we need to invite them along and celebrate and let everyone enjoy it. Yeah.
And they were anonymous as well. So
they were.
I'm hoping I'll be in the bushes there with a long zoom lens, and
as you always are.
Yeah. It's my default action. Right, back to the museum. I want to know what is your thing now that you've been doing this for a while, because this changes for me as my kind of YouTuber. Hardware, software, or literature? So which thing do you get the most enjoyment from when you pick up? Is it a piece of hardware? Is it a piece of software? Or is it a manual or a magazine? Or
come on, all of the above. I mean, when I want to take a break in the day when I'm working at the mill, I always take myself to the fake W.H. Smith's with a cup of coffee, and I shut the door and I just sit there and I pick things up. I sit, I take in the smell, because it just smells like an old W.H. Smith's. Yeah. I shut my eyes, and there's the old trailers on loop on a CRT of the old games from VHS tapes, and I can just lose myself in there. So that is my place, and so there's software in there.
Do you ever go there in like the middle of the night all by yourself when there's no one else around and just enjoy the museum? I mean, not naked. I mean, that's implied. But is Janet a problem?
I've always got my pants on. Janet's never been a problem for me. So for anyone who doesn't know, Janet is the ghost of the mill. Plenty of other people who have had experiences where they say, "Oh, Janet was there. I heard Janet make a noise last night." But no, I think Janet and I were we're pretty good mates. She's never caused me any problems yet. Except for the exploding glass cabinet.
Exploding glass cabinet. That was incredible. You actually showed footage of that exploding.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't there at the time. I had to check the CCTV, and it exploded. Now, I'm not gonna hold Janet to that because it's kind of near the aircon unit. It's safety glass. I think there was probably some kind of temperature issue and some pressure, or it was just Janet. I don't.
Do I need to put that meme in here? I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens.
But it was aliens. Apart from exploding display cases.
So she's no good at Bomberman on the TurboGrafx then?
No, not at all. No.
So do you pitch up at night? And sometimes
it's been a while. It's been a while with family circumstances changing over the last year. But when I get a moment, I will. And normally sort of 5 or 6 o'clock if I can stay late, and everyone from Heber has gone home. Yeah, I do soak it up and pinch myself and enjoy it.
Let's touch on the family thing because you adopted recently, and now I'm not going to hold it against you. You did turn down my overtures to adopt me. I'm not going to be bitter about that. What were you feeling as how many weeks off was it now? It was quite a few, isn't it? That you were away from making content.
Oh yeah, I took was it 3 months off? I think it was. Yeah, I took 3 months away last summer. So we adopted 10 months ago. So for that first transition period to try and help with the attachment, I just dropped all work. Everyone stuck around and supported us through that. So that was really kind. Thank you again to everyone who did that. Obviously I had a lot on my plate, but I was itching to get back and I did miss it. And I'm very pleased to say that I am asked many times in a week if we can go to Daddy's museum. So she's a big fan of it. Yeah, she's a bit too young to be. She's only 3, so a bit too young to really be making sense of the games. But she has a good go at it.
The training has begun.
And when all else fails, I just put Peppa Pig on the big television in the museum, and that keeps her happy. So, yeah,
perfect parenting 101. Yeah. Now that you're back at the museum, you've got your team around you now. This has kind of happened since then, really, hasn't it? That's slotted into that space after becoming a daddy.
Yeah.
And you've got the likes of Dan helping you with. I've actually written down a list here. We've got Richard, who's the godfather, who made you an offer you couldn't refuse.
Yes.
Jason, the living exhibit, but not one of those creepy statue mime artists.
Yep.
Dan, the unsung hero, or sung, or well-sung hero. Let's call him the well-sung hero.
Sung? Was that well sung? Was it?
Well sung, yeah.
Well sung. Okay.
And Holly, the best hugger in the world, who's not afraid of poking a CRT.
Yep.
Are you happy with this team now? Are you looking for anyone who's like kind of good at fixing spectrums to round things out?
Well, I mean, do you want to move house?
Would you want to move mill? We've got one up the road.
No, it's an incredible team. Dan, I hired around about the time the adoption stuff was going on to be an operations manager for the museum. So that's his focus, to keep the museum ticking over. Holly came as a volunteer and then became a director of the Arcade Archive. Mm-hmm. So me, Holly, and Heber have a third each of the Arcade Archive. So she's part of that, but also, spreads herself everywhere to help everything, as you know. I could have phrased that better. And Richard is, doing what Richard does down there with Heber, but is incredibly generous with his time in helping the mill, because he is fully invested in that ethos of dragging everyone up. And if he can help me with content, that helps raise awareness of everything else. So Jason is the most recent addition to the team. Came along, did a wonderful job building the dev den, which I know you've come and enjoyed. And despite being in the wider cave, you can step in there and it immediately has a feeling all of its own and an atmosphere all of its own, the way he set that out. And has great intentions to do his coding in there, and does a wonderful job on Saturdays of showing people all of that. But also very generous with his time, in that he's just rolled his sleeves up with the whole pump house project and said, what do you need me to do? And he is in there 3-4 days a week at the moment, working on the pump house, putting so much effort into that. So I couldn't ask for any more. It's a very good team. It's more a family than a team.
I'm not going to pick a favourite, but because they're all wonderful people and they've all done so much.
Go on.
Well, I'm not going to, but I'm just going to talk about Jason a bit more because
you've got lots in common, haven't you?
We have a lot in common, and we've become fast friends since I first ran into him at the mill, and I realised that he's got a very similar life to me, and and every time we get together, we kind of compare notes, and it's just one of those really nice things. I get to look forward to going to the cave, but I also get to look forward to going to see all my friends as well.
Yeah.
That work there, and you've also got the amazing volunteers who are too numerous to go through. I won't expect you to remember everybody because
I know them all. Yeah. Fantastic volunteers, and I do feel a bit guilty at the moment because I don't get to go in every Saturday. I always make sure I'm there for the special guest days, which are on Sundays. But I generally have Daddy Saturday on Saturdays, where because I'm working in the week, I've got to make sure I put some time aside to spend with the little one and keep that bonding process going. More often than not, we do pop our head in for half an hour at the museum, but I don't always get to see all the visitors, and I don't always get to see all the volunteers on a Saturday who put so much effort in. So I think I'm just going to have to wait for her to be a bit older before I can claw some of that time back. But the volunteers are wonderful.
You think you're going to have more time? Oh, how sweet.
Positivity, Lee, that's what I need.
So you've another big thing that's happened recently is the whole Mr. Multisystem 2 thing that Richard has put together. How much of your time did that take up? Or was this something you were a little bit more hands off from? Because you were quite involved in the first one, weren't you?
Yeah, so different situations. The first one, I was distributing it.
Yeah.
With a chap called Mark and a chap called Dean. And because Heber were very much a business-to-business company at that point, business-to-consumer was alien to them. So having seen the success of the multi-system one, and me not being particularly interested in being a distributor, because I've got enough on my plate as it is, Heber had, in the space between, set up everything they needed to do business to consumer. So I wasn't involved in the distribution. Obviously, I'm not involved in the design. Heber are an electronics design business. That's what they do. But I was able to put the team in touch with our community through Discord, through videos and comments and other methods to get feedback to feed into what do they want to see in the multi-system 2? How do they want to see it improved? And then beyond the launch, support, community support on Discord, and just raising awareness, and of course the launch video, and also helping to put out review units, one of which came to you, and I think I'm right in saying you did the very first video after ours. Yeah. And I cannot tell you how delighted Richard was with that video. He was just like, this is the perfect video. We don't want someone that's been doing Mister for 5 years and is going to talk at a very high level about things that newcomers don't get.
Yep.
Lee's done an incredible job, so he was so pleased with your video, and really nice. I think it did pretty well for you, didn't it? That one?
Yeah, very good. It did some good numbers, and I've had loads and loads of good feedback, and lots of people said that they'd ordered Mr. Multisystem 2s after watching my video. So I'll be there with my pocket empty, waiting for Richard to fill it up with commission when I come over next time.
Fantastic. Yeah. And just in case anyone was in any doubt, Heber is Heber. I am who I am. The arcade is who the arcade is. We don't make any money. I don't make any money from the multi-system 2, not even commission.
Right.
And that's Heber's thing, and we're happy to help Heber because Heber's success is our success. If Heber are secure, the mill's secure. It all works. The ethos follows through everything we do.
Excellent. So Richard is is busy at the moment 3D printing the world. Is he buying enough 3D printers just to print a whole new mill?
Did you see his
and
post?
will he put it closer to me if he does end up making one?
Did you see his post today in front of 3D printers? He's just bought and set up 8 more. So well over 30 printers. No, he hasn't got a problem. I think if we line them all up, we can probably reach your house. Yeah.
Certainly the filament I'd expect. That must be so. I don't think I've been there when they've all been going, but walking into a room or a print farm,
they're busy. They're busy at the moment because we've got all these pre-orders, so they're getting all the cases ready. Yeah, and they are still on track to start those deliveries in August. So they're doing their job.
Excellent. I can't wait. It is on my Christmas list, and I do want one. I really enjoyed playing with it. It was one thing that I wasn't sure about, was whether it would have any value for me, because I don't really play very many games. This is something you find from making content, that you don't really get time to play games, because I've heard you talk about, playing things like BioShock in the past.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people assume I'm playing games all day, every day, and I wish that was the case. But no, I've got a job to do. I don't get to play games as much as I would like. I played games just a ridiculous amount in my youth and through my teen years. So I draw on a lot of those experience, and I'll go back and revisit them sometimes. But not as much as I'd like. Although my latest obsession for the last 3 weeks has been Blitz Basic. Have you ever used that?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the
Amiga.
Amiga.
Not Amos then. Oh, all right, okay.
No, so I had memories of this. This is Amiga format.
Yeah, that's the one.
Issue 52. Blitz Basic. I played the zombie game. I never used the Blitz Basic on it. So I wanted to right that wrong, and I've just become completely obsessed with it. I've made a game. I've interviewed the developer of what's called AmiBlitz. So Blitz is still supported and updated in the modern day through this AmiBlitz thing. So I've interviewed him. I've interviewed a chap called Rob, who is a prolific Blitz user and makes tutorials, Rob Cranley. So I'm pulling that all together for my next video release. And I'm going to put myself out there a little bit, because I'm going to say, look, I made this game. I know I'm not a good coder. I know my code is crap. But if I can do it, then maybe it'll inspire other people to give it a go who've always wanted to make an Amiga game. So
did you start this thinking, oh, this is content, or did you go, oh, I really, really fancy just making a game?
Do you know what did it? My wife Lily was doing cryptic crosswords in bed one night, rock and roll lifestyle. And I thought, do you know what? I need a hobby to unwind at the end of the day with. And I kind of miss programming. And I remember that Blitz thing. So I'm just going to start tinkering. So it was just supposed to be that. But me being me, I ended up taking it to the nth degree. And I thought, well, there's enough here to make a video about this. So let's make a video. And I guess in making that decision, I kind of gave myself permission to spend another week obsessing over it, because I can go, it's all right. It's for a video. I can make a game. I can spend all day coding. It's okay. It's for a video. But I had to draw the line. I've had to draw the line now.
What are the nuts and bolts of this playing with Blitz Basic then? Are you doing this in emulation, or have you set up an Amiga 4000 in your bedroom?
No, and that was a problem as well. As you'll see in the video, I set up an emulated Amiga 4000 with all the bells and whistles, made the game, made the main mechanic of the game, and went, this is brilliant. Let's try it on an Amiga 500. Oh, because I was coming at it with the mindset of how I used to make games like 20 years ago when I tinkered. And back then, even then, it was a Pentium 3, Pentium 4, or an Athlon. So my massively inefficient loops and my horrible code was just Blitz, just powered through it regardless. And the thing worked and fine. My inefficiencies didn't matter. So I made my game on Blitz and was like, oh, crap, I've come at this with the complete wrong mindset. And I had to rewrite the game entirely to just update those tiny pieces of the screen that changed, get really efficient on the loops. And I managed to do it. I managed to get it back down to where it should have been. But that was, it was part of the lessons, that you have to learn. And it was very satisfying to get there.
Brilliant. Is this going to be a series then? Are we going to see, at some point in the future, are you going to be bare metal assembly coding on the Amiga?
No, I don't think I'll get to that level. Blitz is a really nice balance. I mean, you can do inline assembly in it, but it's kind of like a rapid prototyping way of programming. You can just get stuff down and get it done. Going into assembly, that's a lot of effort, Lee. That's a lot of. How are you with your assembly language?
Oh, I tried that back in 1984 and then gave up. I don't do programming. Yeah. I'm definitely Mr. Hardware. The closest I get to programming anything, probably. Nope, I don't.
No, that's how I've been for years, for decades. I used to love it. I went to uni to do software engineering back in the day, so I was all about the programming. And then when I started doing it, beyond a certain level, I was like, I don't want to do this as a job. This isn't me. I liked making games. I liked having fun, but whoa, this is not for me. Which is why it's been nice to reconnect with it as a hobby thing. And I must remind myself, having done this video, not to push myself. Just an hour here and there. Yeah. Just treat it like a cryptic crossword and enjoy it for what it is.
Okay, so pocket games. Are you playing any pocket games? Do you carry a Game Boy around with you these days, or?
I've got a Miu Mini. It's just here, actually.
When was the last time you turned it on?
It's been a while. It's been a few weeks. Miu Mini Plus. This is a great little thing.
I've picked those up at the cave. You sell those at the cave.
This is a slightly older model, so I bought this about 18 months ago, and it was because I enjoyed this so much that I started to stock them in the cave.
The
screen is so clear. So I like to play on that. But the thing I haven't really been playing pocket games. The thing I've been enjoying lately is there's a guy who's done a remastered Ultima 7, which was an isometric game. He's remade the engine fully.
You had to get Ultima in here somewhere, didn't you?
There it is. He's remade the engine fully in 3D. And I support him on Patreon and watch his streams. And he's got he's releasing versions that are kind of a bit more playable than they have been up until now. So I think it's called Ultima Revisited. Hang on, let me check that for you because he deserves a shout out. Yeah, the Ultima 7 Revisited. Fantastic way to enjoy the game again. So I could put it on a portable device. These devices are so powerful now. You can run anything on anything, can't you?
It's ridiculous. It's just the only thing that always trips me up is getting them all set up.
Yeah.
It's just deciding what games you want on there. It's just too much choice now. Right, I'm going to move on to podcasting. And I have a question.
To do that.
I have a question from a long-time viewer.
Oh, we got viewers' questions.
I've got a viewer question. I've only got the one. It says, "Why did you and Dave on this week in retro fall out? Do you think you'll ever make up and become friends again? And how do you feel about what Dave has been telling people?" That question comes from
Dave,
the long-time listener and fan of the podcast, Dave.
Yeah, there it is. Hello, Dave. I love Dave. I miss chatting to him every week, and he's told me the same recently. On a Monday when we'd record the podcast, it was lovely to have a catch up. We talk on a daily basis on Discord, but missed the podcast. And the only reason I left was because of the pressures and the changes of family life. I had to prioritize. So I miss it, but I made sure that when I went, nothing was ever ruled out. So maybe one day I can make my way back there. To know. Yeah.
So you're missing it now. How did you feel immediately after? Was it a sense of relief or?
Yeah, a sense of relief because it would take half a day on Monday, and you think about your working week. If you lose that Monday morning every week, you start off on kind of the wrong foot for everything else you need to do. And this week in retro, as much as it's grown, as big as it is, as wonderful as it is, when I put it in the context of everything else we do, the other stuff had to take precedence over it, really. That's the bread and butter. We got to look after that first and foremost. But Dave, call me. I'm waiting for the invite to be a guest.
I think he's ignoring you now. He's got other fish on the fire.
Fish on the fire, as the old saying goes.
Yeah. Just one more thing. I have to ask everybody the podcast trope question, which is your first machine, but I already know what it was.
You know what that was?
I know yours was an Amstrad CPC 464.
Amstrad CPC 464. And you and I both got to meet Mr. Roland Perry at Retrofest. I don't know if you'd met him before, had you?
I'd been in the same room as him, but I didn't really know who he was at the time.
So I bumped into him in the car park on arriving. I went, "Oh, that's Roland Perry. I've got to go and say hello to him." He had his boot open. I said, "Hello, sir. I'm Neil, and the Amstrad CPC was my first ever computer, and I just wanted to say thank you for everything you did." And he said, "Okay." I think he looked a bit sort of shocked, like surprised, and I didn't know what to say. So I was like, "Can I help you carry anything in to the No, I'm okay. Right. Okay. Thank you." And I think he's a lovely, lovely man. He's got one of those faces that makes you think, okay, he might be a bit grumpy. He's got a bit of a grumpy face. Stoic face. But when I was at the event, I did see him do some funny things that made me think, okay, this guy's got a sense of humor. For example, coming back into the room and sticking his finger in his wife's ear on the other side of her head. So she looked to see who it was while he snuck around the other side. Just little things like that. I was like, okay, I like this guy.
He's human after all.
So I chatted again a bit later. I've got his email address and we're going to see if he might be interested in speaking at the cave one day.
Oh, he's a lovely guy. Who did the interview? Was it Centre of Computing History?
Oh,
the
yes,
Cambridge guys did an interview with him last year, and that was really, really interesting. And I didn't see that until after I'd been in the same room as him at Retro Festival in Cambridge last November, and then they released that. I was like, oh God, that was Roland Perry. I didn't realise that was Roland.
And of course,
cave.
There you go. That's what we would have to call the event, isn't it? Roland in the cave.
Got to be done.
See how high he can jump.
So, all right, we've got that out of the way. Let's do. You've got a shill now, so you've got to tell everybody where they can find you on social media, and you've got a YouTube channel, haven't you? Where can they find that?
Yeah, just search Retro Collective wherever you are. Just search Retro Collective. Whether you want to come and visit, watch, or block, up to you.
I'm not going to go down that road. It's podcast closing time, and as we usher the last few punters towards the door, a fixed rictus pub landlord smile upon our face, muttering, "Please come again," as sincerely as we can manage. Our thoughts dwell on the...
You're reading this, Lee, aren't you? You're reading this. He's reading this. I thought he was a pro.
I'm not going to swear at you because I'm going to put this in the outtakes now. Show everybody what you're like. This is the real Neil.
Take 3.
It's podcast closing time, and as we usher the last few punters towards the door, a fixed rictus pub landlord smile upon our face, muttering, "Please come again," as sincerely as we can manage. Our thoughts dwell on the fact that in the old days, our special space was just for us. Why did we turn it into a museum and invite the great unwashed in here to play with our toys? But finally, the door clicks shut and peace descends. It's time to tidy up the plates and put the hoover around, which in this outro metaphor is reminding everyone still listening, and why wouldn't you, this is the best bit, that the best way to help get this podcast heard by more people is fluffing the YouTube algorithm with a like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out my other content on this channel, More Fun Fixing It, where I have lots of fun fixing all kinds of old things, and my other channel, More Fun Making It. You can work out yourself what I do there. And thank you, Neil, for coming on my little podcast. You were great, and I'm not sure you're the right fit for the co-host spot. Thank you for your time anyway. Would you like us to validate your parking? I think you should go. Security! Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and here's the announcement. I'm not going to be doing these anymore. I'm really sorry, but they take up a lot of time, and more time than I really anticipated. But the first few that I did were only about half an hour long, and they didn't take very long to edit. It was done in an evening, but it's getting, they're stretching and getting longer and longer naturally, but as the subjects get more and more in depth, and I can't afford the time to spend on these when they really don't get very good views. for some reason, well, I mean, it's not YouTube's fault. I think that people that are subscribed to my channel are not here for a podcast. Some people do enjoy it, and they did get a reasonable amount of views, but compared to regular content, it really does hurt my channel to do these. I'm not saying I'm not going to do them in the future. I definitely want to do them again. I really enjoy doing them, but for now I'm going to have to stop and concentrate on actually making videos. So apologies to anybody that was relying on these for your listening. I'm thinking of you, Matt. Then I'm really sorry, but there's lots of podcasts for you to listen to. I'm sure you'll find something equally as good. And I hope you enjoy the regular video content and all the fixing and making things. I did enjoy it. Thank you.